Welcome to this new regular series for the channel where we will be playing Voxel Tycoon. Now, I'm aware many people don't like long introductions, so there will be a timestamp appearing now for anyone who wants to jump forward into the gameplay. For anyone who's remained, welcome. This introduction will consist of 3 parts. In the first part, I'm just going to talk about the game itself and my first impressions. The second part, we're just going to take a look at some of the settings and game controls. And then in the third part, we will then set up the new game and jump into the game map. So let's just move on to the first part. Voxel Tycoon is an early access game from an indie company called Voxel Tycoon, who are actually also acting as their own publisher. And this game was released into Steam on the 15th of April 2021, if you're watching this in the future. Now, I'm going to be completely upfront. The game's been around for over a year, as far as I can remember. And when I first saw some early pre-alpha gameplay, I didn't really like it, mainly because I'm not a big fan of voxel graphics. And I'll be completely upfront about that. And so when I got the notification of when this game was released into Steam, I kind of thought, well, maybe eventually I'll take a look at it. And what happened was I had nothing to do, about a week ago. And I started looking at some gameplay by, I think it was Colonel Failure, and I think the first video of Catherine Sky. And I started to look at it and I thought, well, yeah, the graphics aren't my type of graphics, but I do like the gameplay because Voxel Tycoon is a management simulation game rather than a city building game. And probably the best way to describe it is a bit of a cross between Minecraft, Factoria, and Transport Fever. So if you're into those types of games, especially Factoria and Transport Fever, this may be the game for you. So after watching those videos, I did a little bit of extra research and I did check out the roadmap, which is over here. I'm not going to click on it because it can be a bit slow to load. And after looking through the roadmap of where the developers want to take the game, I thought, well, this is certainly worth taking a more in-depth look at. And after looking at the roadmap and seeing where the developers want to take the game, I thought this is certainly worth taking a deeper look. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this irregular series. Now, what I will say is that I've only played about 4 or 5 hours and I've only covered the basics of the game. I've laid a little bit of rail track and a few conveyors and bits and pieces like this, and I think that's probably enough of an introduction to the game. What I'm going to do now is just talk a little bit about the settings, and probably the first thing that will strike you is the fact that you can see here straight away that the developers have got a strong commitment to a modding community, and there is an asset editor. I haven't actually looked at it. If I get into settings, these are the general settings of the game. So you can see it's got an auto save interval. I've pushed that up to 30 minutes. Language is English, obviously. You can use metric or imperial. I'm sticking to metric because it's what I know. I mean, a horsepower is very old. I don't know anyone in the world actually still uses horsepower, actually. Now, the UI scale, I've actually increased 150%. Simply because I found that on 100% the UI is a little bit small, and part of the problem is there's not enough color contrast with respect to some of the controls. So some are a little bit hidden. Once you know where they are, it's okay, but when you're first trying to learn the game, and probably when you guys are going to be watching the video, you may think, what on earth, where's he clicking? So I've actually increased the UI scale to 150%. What I will say, if you still think it's a bit small, tell me in the comments and I'll increase it. Now, moving down, what you'll see is I've changed the color scheme to colorblind friendly, not because I'm exactly colorblind, but I've got a friend who is colorblind and they are interested in this game. So I thought for any of you out there who are a bit colorblind, I'm going to go with the colorblind friendly option. It says day night cycle, auto cloud shadows on, U-turns at intersections. I haven't played with this on, but it says below enabling this option can lead to traffic jams. It says reduce speed notification version. Video settings, you can see are just there. What I have done is I've increased the view distance, so hopefully so that we can get a slightly better top view when we're actually playing. And then I'm going to skip the audio because the audio is just volume. Of course, I've turned the volume down because the music, like most games when you first start them on default, it's a bit loud. And now the controls are quite interesting, and some of them, they don't exactly follow normal conventions. So I'll just kind of show you down, but there's one that is down here is the pause, and you can see that the actual pause button, instead of being the space bar, It's actually up on the top left hand corner. Well, it's just to the left of the 1 key on my keyboard. I won't say what it is because obviously people's keyboards actually vary. And some of the key commands you do need to take a look at is build bridge, next bridge, build tunnel, next tunnel, because these commands don't actually come up in the tutorial. Therefore, being able to know how these actually work is quite useful. Then I'll just show down here. I think that's enough of an introduction to the settings. So we've now reached the point where we're going to move into the final stage of this introduction, and we are going to set up a new game. Now, the game settings consists of 4 tabs. I'm just going to give you a quick run through what they look like. Now, you can name your company anything you want. I'm going to name it Silverton because that's the company name that I've been using all across. You can change the color. I think we'll change it to there. You can change the currency, do whatever you want. You could play British pounds, I suppose, because I live in the UK. I mean, I was playing euros just for the fun of it. It doesn't really make any difference because it's still a unity. Now, the city names is a bit unusual because the developers haven't actually put UK city names in. So if you live in the UK, you can't play with UK names. And what I've been doing is just kind of going around, but trying to avoid some of the more difficult languages. I think, what was it? I was playing Australian. Maybe we'll play Canadian, I think. I've turned the tutorial off because if you watch my first impressions video, the tutorial is very basic and it just literally gives you the movement keys. So therefore, it's not worth doing it a second time. Now, the world seed is generated every time you come in. If I close this and come back in again, you'll see that we've now got a world seed. I've got no idea what that actually generates, so we'll just go with whatever they give us. This tab allows you to set the difficulty. I'm just leaving everything on normal for the moment. In fact, one thing I might change actually is, you've only got one setting. Oh, well, that's the way it goes. You can see there's some clues to the game functionality in here, like inflation, removal, refunds, which can be a bit thing. You can also change the deposit richness to hard, 20 minus 25, easy plus 25. Because the deposits do run out in this game, I've been told. I haven't really played long enough to be able to learn that. And then what you've got on this world tab, now it says at the top here, region size. Now, with this game, don't confuse region with map size. Now, what the developers have said is that technically the map is huge, because the way the game plays is you start in a region and then you buy new regions and keep expanding. And it'd be really interesting to see how far out that you can go. And then the mountains, lakes and plains just changes the level amount of that actually appears on the map. And then the final tab here is the base game and the mods. I'm not going to even look at mods at the moment. I just want to play the game at the moment in its vanilla mode. And I think that is about it. And I think we just can click start. Now it does take a little while to load, so I will see you once we actually get onto the gameplay map. So here we are on the gameplay map. Now, before I talk about the welcome screen, I just want to talk about one thing which I do find a little bit annoying. Now, if any of you play games regularly, you expect to push the space key to pause the game. Well, you can't pause the game. The actual pause key in this game is actually to the left of the 1 key on your keyboard. It's literally in the top left-hand corner of the keyboard. And if you press that, you can actually pause the game. I thought I'd just demonstrate that to begin with, because it took me a little while to actually find that key. And it was a bit annoying when I was trying to pause the game to look at something and I couldn't find out. And I think this is one of the features of this game, is the interface has some slightly odd color choices, is probably the polite way of saying it. And that's the reason why I increased the size of the UI. And then, as I said in the first part of the introduction, if you think the interface is too small and you can't see some of the commands, feel free to chuck it in the comments and I'll increase the UI size. Anyway, let's just get onto the screen. It says, welcome to Mogtud region. This is a good place to do business. Look around for resources, deposits to start mining from, and buy vehicles and supply city demands. When you're ready, make some more complex products, research new technologies and expand Silverton to other territories. Good luck. And the area of our region is 3.8 million square meters. Now, you always start with iron ore, logs and coal on the map. And the biome is deciduous forest. Now there's all sorts of biomes, but don't feel that when you start it's deciduous forest that's there, because when you buy other regions, which I'll talk about in a little while, those have different biomes. Now what you can either start with 3 cities or 4 cities, and what I've found so far is starting with 3 cities is actually better than 4 cities, because getting the initial roads out to the cities and getting the industries working can be a little bit complicated. Now it says Moncton is tourist, Slave Lake is mixed, and Cranbrook is industrial. Now, to be honest, I'm not exactly too sure what that means at the moment. I think that may be refined over time. The number to the right is the size of your population. And if we move to the right here, you'll see that the demands in these cities is 2 want coal, 1 needs iron, and 1 needs log. And that gives you an initial clue to say that probably the best resource to develop first is coal. We're going to click got it there, and I'm just going to give you a tour of the map. Now you move around the map with WASD. You can zoom out with the center mouse button, and you can rotate by pressing the center mouse button. If I kind of go out there, what you'll see here is these are the regions that surround here. If I click on this, you'll see that this one is a subarctic region, and what you get here is its area, what resources in it, and the one city in this area demands. But of course I can't unlock it until I've got the money. Now don't be too worried about some of the resources, because as far as I know, that what happens is some of these raw resources can appear and disappear. We can see this one's got, I think this is sand, but I mean, don't be too obsessed with this one. You see this is temperate, this has got logs, but other resources will appear over time. And of course the next one you see up here, this one's actually got copper. That must be quite good. So the first thing you want to do is just have a look around, find your cities. So we've got Moncton there. Actually that's quite close to coal. Of course it goes without saying that the second town over here, Slave Lake, is also wants coal. So what we're probably looking at is putting a road between here, and of course the wood's down here. And so actually Cranbrook actually needs 2 resources. It's close to iron, but the wood is a long way away, so that's going to be a bit problematic. So looking around the map, the first industries I want to develop, and of course we'll be developing this with trucks, is coal and iron, and then we'll bring the wood in later on. Now one thing I will say is when you're planning what you're going to develop, be aware that what will happen over time is that if you don't supply goods, you see that little red dot there? If I click on here, you'll see that the supply is bad. This gives you the idea of what these are actually looking for. Now, what will happen is that if you don't supply goods to these companies quick enough, they will go bankrupt. And this is one reason why I'm kind of starting on pause at the moment. I think what we're going to do is we're going to put a road through here. We've only got 600,000 to start with, so we're going to have to try and keep things a little bit tight. And what I will say is that put a road smack bang across the center like that. Oops, what happened there? I think what happened was I went too far. I think it was just that. We've now created a road here. You can see the roads are instant build. Oh, that's that's not good. I'm going to take that out. And we have to, I didn't really want to use the terraforming tool, but I think we're going to take that out, because having that bridge right next to my coal mine would be a bit problematic. You can see we've blown quite a lot of money. Now what we've got to do here is place buildings where coal mines here, but before that what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in the buildings which are going to supply the goods to here, because you don't deliver directly to this area. What you do is you deliver in what's called stations here, and what you get is these little stations here. Now top tip, don't delete buildings unless you really have to, and more importantly don't put buildings on like that, because you're going to get traffic jams. Always put your buildings like this. Now you can see here that the slightly pink color is the area of effect, so I could kind of put it over here, but what we're going to do for this one is put this here. And what you also want to do is kind of just put a little bit of road out like that. The reason for that is eventually we may need a warehouse here, And then what we're going to do is go all the way over to here. And luckily the coal is right on the edge here. That is a really good location. So just come in here. That there, is that a road or is it, what is that? Can we get rid of that? I've got 180 back for the money that we spent. And get in here, and what we're going to do is drop a station in here. I'm kind of putting it in a little bit like that, actually, here. Now come on, game. The game can be a little bit temperamental sometimes. Press the escape key and try again. There we are. Yeah, when you're building things, it can be a little bit temperamental. So we've now got coal there. And what we're going to do now is put in a coal mine. Now, when you put in the coal mines, which are here, it says mining facilities, the temptation is to stick the mine right in the middle of the resources, but that can give you problems. So what you really want to do is, when you're putting in a mine, I think we'll put it on this side, what you want to do is you've got to have it touching this, but what you will be eventually doing is building multiple mines here. So what you need to do is consider where you want your mine to be here. I think maybe if we can put it just about there. As far as I know, the coverage doesn't make any difference to its output. And what we're going to do now is put in another delivery station. They all work roughly the same. Now what I'm going to do is put this in a bit further than I would normally do. In fact, simply because what will happen is, if we're going to get lots of trucks coming in here, they're going to queue. So what you want to do is put this out in about that far there, and then come down and connect there. And what that will also have eventually is the option to put in a warehouse, because if we get lots of coal and we got lots of trucks running up and down this road here to these two different settlements, we may need extra storage here for the coal mines that we're going to put in here. And of course, if things get really busy, we can always put another station on this side here. Now the next thing we got to do is build a garage. Now what I'm going to do is, you can build them anywhere you want, and of course it's the R key to rotate. What we're going to do is just put the garage there. So we've now got Moncton West. We've now set up our line here. The next thing we need to do is come into here and buy vehicles. When you start the game, you only get a choice of 4 vehicles: 2 buses, a truck that carries logs, and a truck that carries either iron or coal. So we're going to click on that. Don't ever press release from depot, because it runs off and does something. What you need to do is reconfigure it. And if you come up here again, apologies if you can't quite see this, but if you click in here, always assign what the vehicle is going to carry. Don't ever release a vehicle that doesn't have that. Now the next thing you want to do is click on here, and you can see we've got to add stops. So we're going to set up 2 routes. I think the first one, so of course the first stop is there, and what you see is you get this menu that says there. So we're going to load here. What you always want to do is set it on to full, and then what we're going to do down here, it says add a stop, and then you put in here, you set it to unload, and it says wait until unloaded. Now the next thing you want to do, and this is a very top tip, always name your routes, because as you get more and more routes, it gets very, very complicated. Now the next thing you want to do is that we're going to click that. Now what we're going to do now is go onto here, and if you click on here, what you got here, you got a copy button, and what we're going to do is we're going to buy 3 trucks, and because I've set that one up straight away, what will happen is that those trucks will come in here. Now if once you set the route up, you click release all there. Of course what we're going to do now is just unpause. What you'll see is the trucks will come out. We're going to play on slow for the moment. And what the trucks will do is come up here to here and pick up the coal and take it to, I can't remember which way it would go. Well, we'll just see as speed's going up. 1, 2, and 3 changes the speed. Oh, they're going that way. Okay. Let's go back to speed 1. Because what I want to do now is set up and buy another 3 trucks. And again, we're just going to configure it for coal. I'm just going to buy it. So you can do this in different ways. Of course, what we're going to do is add a stop. And we have a deal because we've done our first delivery. And we'll just set this up to full. And we're just going to drop off to there. We're going to unload. Set that to full. And we can just come into, click on there. Look by, no. Okay, but what we can, hopefully this is going to work. Okay. Now we're going to be a bit careful now because I didn't set the route up. So we're going to have to go through and set the route up individually like that. And you can see with the drop down, you can, and then we're just going to come in here. I'm just going to release all those. And our trucks are going to go out here. We're just going to increase the speed 2. We've now got the beginnings of our economy. We've kind of spent a lot of money. And now, one thing I've noticed, and I think I've watched Colonel Failure doing this, is he kind of pushed very quickly towards building trains. And what I've found is that you don't really want to rush that. What you want to do is kind of get your economy going with trucks first. Another thing you got to pay attention to is how these towns actually build up. Say we have heating plants. We've now got coal on 2 centres, and we've got trucks delivering there. Just want to see how well these guys turn up. I'm a bit inclined to add a little bit more road out here. Of course, when you lay roads, you can only turn right corners. So we've got this up and running now. We've got some coal coming in. Let's see how available for transfer. I mean, we're getting quite a lot of coal coming in and out, backwards and forwards. These guys are going to be happy. As this town builds up, what will happen is you'll get new industries growing, the town will grow, and of course, more importantly, we'll make some money. Let me just see. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you is down in the left-hand corner here, we've got a corporate building. As far as I know, it doesn't cost us anything, but it's a one-off shot. So if you click in here, wherever you put this increases the productivity of that town. Part of me would say to put it up in Cranbrook, but we haven't actually got a connection here at the moment. So what we're going to do is just cancel that for the moment. And what I want to do now is just look at, we got an iron mine there. So my instinct now is to possibly put a road over to here, get some iron going. We've only got 296,000 to spend. You can borrow money. If I click on here, you can take out a loan. And technically, what we started with was a loan. Kind of. Now, the iron ore we got to be a little bit careful with because we will be building factories over here as well. I think I will. What we're going to do is put the station in first. We put a station. Actually, no, we want the mine, don't we? Make sure we got the right mine. So we can. I would like to have a mine like that. And then we'll put a station in. Maybe you can see. You don't need to cram this here. You can kind of put it out a little bit. In fact, let's just put it up or say about here. If you move off, it will disappear a little bit. And what I'm going to do is put that there because that takes the road a little bit closer. And what we're going to do is just put the road out a little bit like that. And then what I'm going to do is kind of come here. You can see when you build angular roads like this, we've now got a road to there. Kind of, could I get a road? And what we got to do is go all the way through to here. And I think what we'll do is we'll put the shed station about here, because it means we could also bring a road down here should we later on. We got that there, so we got this here. Now I could build another garage, but what I'm inclined to do is create a road through. I'm looking for what the maximum, we could bring a road through here, but yeah, I think we will. I think come here. What we'll do is we'll just curve round the landscape a little bit and bring you down to there, because that, if you don't go up and down, you actually save money, is a polite way of saying it. So we've now got a road there, and also I think this road, where was the trees? The forest is down here. So we got a road through to there, going up to there. We got our, actually I'm gonna, now I haven't spent the time yet to work out the spacing here for min-maxing buildings, so apologies for that. I think we can now buy another 3 trucks. And what we're going to do is configure this guy to carry iron, and we're just going to set him up, and you're going to pick up from there. You're going to load and pick up a full load, and you're going to drop off there, unload. Again, we're just going to save as. This is iron ore to Cranbrook West. And again, we're just going to buy, I found starting with 3 trucks is probably a good way of doing it. If we click on here, we can release all. What we got now, we'll have now is we'll have trucks delivering iron ore up to here. And that should fulfill these requirements. And while that's actually running, we'll just take a look here. Man, you see these guys are, yeah, excellent. So these guys are really happy, and hopefully these guys are going to be happy. And of course, if they're happy, that means that this is average. So we have a deal. So we're now making a bit of money. Just to give you a breakdown of that, you see new vehicles 63,000, building maintenance 191, and you see we got trade here, vehicle running costs. So we're kind of in the black here. This is loan interest, and of course what you can see here, if we get rid of, you can see our fleet, and what you can see here is whether any vehicles are actually making any money. Not that. And just see what the population is now. You've got 216, you've got 169, and you've got 203. Well, I'm looking around. We got stone over there. We got more coal over there, and we got potential. What I'm looking for is where might be the, because our headquarters is a one-shot thing, and I want my headquarters somewhere. We've got copper there. My instinct is still to put my headquarters in here. You can drop it in anywhere you want. It doesn't have to be connected to roads, and it's quite cheap to build. And what happens is once the value of the company reaches a certain point, you actually get an increase there. And what we're going to need to do now is find some way to get these logs in. Yeah, so we got 150,000 to spend. I really would like to get logs coming up to here, so that we can make some money. Actually, no, it's the wrong way around. I think we're going to go for it. So what we're going to do down here now is we're going to put in, it's a sawmill, it's classified as a mine, but now again, what you want to do is choose this very carefully, because we're probably going to need multiple sawmills here, because eventually this will also be a manufacturing center. And what I'm thinking now is we're going to come here, we'll put a station, I'll rotate it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put I want it to cover that area, but actually we may need multiple stations, so I think we'll be okay like that. Just want to check something. I think it'd be okay. If we put in, I don't want it too close to that. We may have to do a little bit of terraforming here, because this is kind of going to. And what I'm going to do is just fill this hole in a little bit, because I want to build the road across the front there like that. The other thing I also want to do is just, I want to make sure I can put a small warehouse in just there. I mean, the warehouse doesn't need to be connected to the road, but we may need the warehouse later on with respect to there. Again, don't ever put your road out like that. What you want to do is always cancel. What you want to do is bring the road across like that, and then we'll just say the tool can be a little bit tricky. Come on, don't want it. I want to add a little extra length like that. And then what we're going to do is try and get a road up with the minimum amount of terrain kind of breakout. What I'm going to do is, you can see, if we come up to say that kind of, if we hook to there like that, we've now got Slave Lake transfer there. Now, one thing you don't really want to do, unless you really have to, is mix your stations, because it can get a bit confusing. So it may sound a bit more expensive, but what I have found is that you're going to put a station in, try and make them unique to the building. I mean, there will be overlap, but I think we can just put one in there. So we've now got Cranbrook South here. Now we don't have that much money, so we're going to have to start with like 1 or 2 trucks. I'm going to come in here. Of course, this time what we got to buy is the AA trucks here for the wood. We're going to go in here, and you guys are just carry logs. I'm going to buy you, and your starting point is down here. You're going to load, wait till you're full, and you're going to come all the way up. It's a long way, and I know some people will say, oh, build trains, but trains are very expensive, and I think at this point in the game what you want to do is just keep it simple and just run with the trucks. And I don't think we can build another one here. We got 2 trucks here, and I think we're just going to release all. So what we got now, I think we're just going to speed the game up to level 3. And so what we've got now is we're effectively catering for all the main needs. And this guy is good. And what you're looking for is to get at least an average, possibly a good rating for all your vehicles. So we've now got this in here, because that just encourages these towns to build. And you can see here, with these 2 coming in here now, demand decrease, difficulty, business difficulties of wood. This is awful. So what we're really going to need to do is possibly put another truck on. And just to show you how that can work, if we go in and buy a truck here, I'm just going to buy him. But what you can do is click on here, and if you go to individual routes, you can just select it like that straight away and then just release him. This is the reason why you actually name your towns. Where's he gone? You get out quick. I think I did it, didn't I? So a quick check. We should have a fleet of... Yeah, we got 3 trucks to wood. And he's on his first delivery run. So we've now got this area here. You can see we've got a little bit of money flowing in. Want to make sure... Yeah, at the moment we're still not got anyone queuing. By setting the wait until full, if you see trucks starting to queue in these resource areas, that's an indication that you may need to add another mine or a sawmill. So we've now got the basics of our economy up and running. Now we're going to start thinking about where we're going to go from here, because we are on a time limit. And what we need to do now is start thinking a little bit about research, which is down here. So, and it says here we've got to build a lab. And the lab is 77,000, so we have to try and accumulate a bit of cash. Yeah, and I'm thinking what I want to do is put the lab somewhere. But now, one tip: don't build a lab on a short road on your main roads. What you want to do is kind of put it on a spur away from... Well, you want to keep it somewhere. Now, the way the research works is that... Oops. Now, the way the research works is that you need both money and often resources. So what you want to do is put... So if I kind of zoom out, you'll see that the garage is like centrally placed in the region. And what you want to do is do exactly the same. But as I said, don't put your research on the main road itself. Give yourself quite a amount of space to do it like that. And then what we'll do is where's the research lab? And what we're going to do is just put the lab in here like that. Put it back there, about there. Now you can build multiple laboratories. Now if we click on here, well, you see it says start new research. And the first research you really want to do is to get the conveyors up and running, because then you're going to move on to iron smelting. And if you come back to manufacturing, you've got wood processing. So these are the first kind of techs you want to get to. And you've got manufacturing too. But so the first thing we actually want is this, so that we can get the conveyors, and it also opens up iron smelting and wood processing. So we're just going to click that. Now the way the research goes is you've got to pay so much a month to pay for it, and you can see it takes 45 days. When you move to the more advanced researches, you're going to have to deliver goods. So that's why it's got logistics and stats in here. So what we're going to have to do is just let the game run until we've got that research. To be completely honest, the conveyors aren't much use to begin with, but over time they will become pretty important. The way that goes. So how are we doing here? We kind of got our delivery up to average. I'm quite happy with that at the moment. And we'll just check our fleet and see. So we are making a reasonable amount of money. We've got no trains. I think it's a mistake to try and rush for trains earlier on. Let's see here. Just want to keep a check. We're kind of still kind of holding up here. Let's have a look at our... I mean, when you will really need to expand these is once we get to more advanced manufacturing. There's 58, range 75 meters, and we've got down here. And what I'm really hoping is that one of our towns are going to expand to a new commodity before we actually choose the next research. But here's what we got here. So this is expanding. I think I'd like to give these guys a little bit of helping hand here. Oops. Take that back. Because the town will grow. I mean, as far as I know, there's probably ways that you can manage the town growth and take it in a direction that you want to go. But in this series, I'm just quite happy to let the town grow in the way that it is, just to see how things actually go forward. Come on, game, you can do it. You can give me some extra resources. Average. We could probably put another truck on this route to get this guy up a little bit going. I mean, maybe we'll do that. New point of sale. There we are. Wood. Okay, where's the new point of sale? We've now got a wood. That's what I was hoping for. So, congratulations, you've researched manufacturing. Okay. Right. What I want to do now is just to get this growing. We've got a point of sale here. Now, I don't think that will cover. Let me just see. No. So what we're going to have to do is go in here. What we can do is just put this here on this corner. Now got Slave Lake. Okay, we're just going to actually, I think what I could do is sometimes if it doesn't go one way, go the other way. Now, the only thing I was maybe a little bit worried about. Can't build here. We could get one in that corner should we need it. So we've now got the wood capability here. And what I'm going to do is go in here, buy another little truck. Carry logs, buy him, and we're going to set him up. He's going to pick up here. Rambook now accepts more wood. We have to take a look at that. Now unload, wait till full. What we're going to do is save up wood to Slave Lake. I think truthfully we just only need about 2 trucks for this, and we'll just resort. What's the message now? So these guys are actually demanding more. So really and truthfully, we probably need an extra truck, but we've got no money. We can always borrow some money actually. Just borrow 50,000. And again, I think we're just going to buy another wood truck. Here, there, buy you, and we're just going to. What's it? It's Wood Cranbrook South, isn't it? This is Cranbrook South, yes. And we're just gonna, you can release them from this point of view here. So we've got a bit of a dilemma now in the sense that I'm not sure what we can do research wise because I've got no clue. I'm gonna gamble, as you see here, with the iron ore we got there. I don't know, wood processing, we got to deliver logs. I think what we'll do is we'll go for iron smelting. Now what will happen is you can see we've now got to deliver iron ore to here, which means that what we're going to do is put in a delivery area here. We'll just put you in, say, like that. Actually, we'll put you here. No, we'll put you here. Now, eventually, we may actually need multiple deliveries because as the commodities change. And also we may eventually need warehouses, so you do need to plan this a little bit. And what we're going to have to do is buy another truck, buy lots and lots of trucks. And okay, just cancel. You need to set this up. And you're going to carry iron ore. And what we're going to do is add a stop. You're going to pick up from there. You're going to load. Wait, load for all. And you're going to deliver to there. And we're just going to unload that. I think we're going to go with just the one truck. Because what you'll see with the research is that at the moment we don't spend money, but we need the delivery of 5. So what you're looking for is that you want to be able to deliver 5 iron ore into here to keep the research going. You can see every time it goes in, it moves forward a little bit. And I think we could probably put another truck on that actually. Let's put another truck on it. And we're just going to, where is this slave annex? Why can't I find it in here? I didn't name it, did I? If I can find it. Where's the guy come down? Yeah, I've made the mistake. I think we can edit this and we can save you as... You can add things later. And of course I keep forgetting, I keep pressing the space bar, apologies for that. What we can do now is add you there and release you. And that will give us a little bit of research going. So we're making a little bit of cash and everything is coming along quite nicely. Just take a check here. So this is good. Slave Lakes is good. These guys are still coming in here. I mean, I can add more trucks to make things more profitable, but I don't really want to do that just at the moment. So this guy now accepts more coal. How is our coal supply? Because we are starting to push this a little bit now. Oh, we're okay. At the moment, none of these trucks are queuing. What you're looking for is trucks that are queuing up, waiting to unload. That is the queue to build a warehouse. I'm kind of a bit inclined to... Let's have a look here. Now, what you'll notice is that the trucks delivering to research don't make money because they may earn nothing. So you want to limit the number of trucks that you actually put in there. And what we're doing is, it was coal to Slave Lake. So how much money we're making? We're making a pretty good profit on that actually. So I think what we'll do is we'll just buy another one of these trucks. And I'm just going to edit you, and we're going to add you to, what was it? Coal to Slave Lake South. And we'll just release you. Get another truck on that route there. Keep the money building up here. How's our research coming along? It's slowly. But to be honest, I don't really want to push this research until such time as we actually find more advanced manufacturing. With my luck, it'll probably be wood. At the moment, we're kind of on the limits here. We got 104,000. Let's have a look here and see. I mean, this guy's full. Let me just see here. He's kind of starting to get a little bit going. I think as an example, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a warehouse in here, just so you guys can see what warehouses are like. So if we just put a warehouse here, like that, it's a small warehouse. What you've got to do is configure the warehouse. As far as I know, warehouses only hold one item, and I mean there may be more advanced warehouses in the game, but and what you'll see is, keep an eye on this. I mean, if this builds up to 115, then I know that this coal mine is still holding quite well. I think it's okay at the moment. I don't think we really need another mine. But just to show you here, if I show you industries, so what was it? Industries, factories. See, we've got no factories at the moment. But what we can do is build conveyors if we really wanted it. But at the moment, we've got no real use for a conveyor. I mean, if this was really close, you could run a conveyor directly up to, say, here. But there's not much point at the moment until we get a demand for another industry. And this is where you've got to be a little bit patient and not push your luck too much. So we've actually lost a little bit of money with the coal. Yeah, it says excellent in this area. That's okay. And what you get is this little flashing symbol to tell you. Yeah, I think what we're doing here is we're actually overloading these guys with coal. You can see, so they're actually, they got demand there in storage. I think that's okay. And coal delivered logistics. It's all connected. I think if you do this and open logistics, what you can see is this line. It shows you what factories this building is actually connected to. But you can see at the moment there's no real necessity to run a railway into a building like this. To be honest, I just want one game. Everyone's happy. Come on. I mean, it's good. I mean, we could push this a little bit further and try and make this. This still says this is a bit average. So I think what we'll do is we'll buy another truck, a wood truck. Just assign you individual route. What's this route up here? This is Cranbrook South. I think we'll get another little wood truck running up to here to see if we can get this up to good. That's good or excellent. I think if you can get it up to excellent or something like that, the town will actually grow faster. Average. That's average. Okay, so I think we're going to just try and to nudge the game along a little bit. What we're going to do is just keep adding the occasional trucks just to keep things going. By you, and we need to do is send you. Oops, I don't want that. Just that there, and you can deliver wood to Slave Lake. And that's a nice short route, so we can get lots of trucks running backwards and forwards there. How's the? I mean, you've still got some good stuff going there, and hopefully this will improve over time. See, we got a nice circulation going here as well, which is good. We're kind of making the money. So let me just see. Your excellence. I think maybe we got 99,000. I think we're add another truck that to deliver to coal. I'm just going to add another truck on that route. When you lose, just keep pushing these things along. What we got here, message wise, business has no extra storage. Okay, so we can solve that by putting in a warehouse, proper small warehouse in there. And what we can do is set you to coal. What should happen now is these guys will come into here and they will we've now researched iron smelting, and I think is a little bit kind of thing. And what we need to do now is we're going to go in here, and what I would like to do, we don't want to do still, what I would like is wood processing. I think wood processing creates beams, so we're going to do that. What we've got to do now is find these guys here, and what we can do is edit you, and I think we can change this, can't we? Cancel, and just put, or we can change the route, switch individual. I think what we can do now is, this is iron ore, Northbrook West, north, isn't it? Up here. I think we're gonna, you can deliver to there. We're gonna do exactly the same for here. You can go iron ore, I think you can go to Slave Lake. Sometimes when they're waiting here, you've got to kind of give them a little bit of a shove. And of course, what we got in here, and what we got to do now is create a couple of other trucks. I could divert trucks from other areas, but we're going to do this here. Configure you to logs, apply, and what you're going to do is you're going to add a stop, and what you're going to do is bring logs up from here, and I'm just going to load, and you're going to come up to, and you're going to deliver to there and unload fully. And also we're going to do a save as, because it's now woods to slave annex, and we're just going to build 2 of these, and we're going to replace them all. What those guys will do is come up this way. Now there is a way you can check the routes, And what will happen now is, what are you doing? Wait, what are you doing? Okay, this route isn't okay. This is it. You're meant to be delivering to Canbrook Northwest. Obviously, I didn't change him. I say the interface is good, but it does take a little bit of getting used to. Is probably the polite way of saying it. And what we should do now is get our wood processing underway. Have a look here. This is good. This is average. We're going to need more trucks on the coal front, I think. I think what we may actually have is a case here for possibly putting a train to deliver the coal here. But to be honest, I'm not a big fan of delivering the coal using, especially on a map like this. And these guys are going well. That's average still is excellent. And I think I would like to get some more. I mean, we're getting a nice flow along here, but we're not getting any congestion points at the moment. We got the coal miners. I think what we are going to do is we're going to buy a couple more of these trucks. We're going to set you up here. What's it? Slave Lakes, isn't it? You're going to deliver coal to Slave Lakes South. And what we're going to do is put like 3 of these. We're going to release them all. Oh, we got sports ground here. Come on. I mean, we got a population of 351. Come on, game. The iron ore is excellent. And the wood is not quite so excellent. I mean, you could argue that I don't really want to move the logs because it's easier to manufacture the final products in the set area where this is rather than shipping the raw materials to somewhere else. So we're just going to let this play for the moment and just see how it goes. I mean, Silverton is growing up really nicely. Maybe if I give this a bit of a shove, we could get things going. What we got here? This is good. We get this up to good. They're both on good now, which is great. So we're gonna come up to here. This is still average. This is excellent. Okay, we got new point of sale. We got wood over here now. Now we do have a case for possibly building a railway, because we've now got 2 points here where we can put logs in, and so we could probably come out round through there and connect this up, because what we could do is build a rail station down here and then take things up to over and put a, say, a rail distribution point up about here. But I think that will be the subject of the next video. This is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you found it interesting. And until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.